Welcome to New York's #2 sports show. The New York Giants have won 3 straight. They defeat the Green Bay Packers on a last-second Randy Bullock field goal led by Tommy DeVito. They win 24-22 on Monday Night Football. They improve to 5-8. But I got to be honest, and again, I'm sure there's a lot of division amongst Giant fans, but I was rooting against the Giants in this game. So I come out of this upset. Look, I understand the DeVito hype. I get it. It's cool. Look, I mean, I even went to Syracuse, so Tommy DeVito. I'm not the biggest Syracuse football fan, but I'd have every reason. I'd have every reason to root for Tommy DeVito, and it's a cool story. But the Giants are, and I said it last week, but it even comes through again here. They are in no man's land, and maybe I'm being too. You could argue that I'm being too analytical with it and not thinking emotionally, but that's just the fact of the matter. If the Giants lost tonight, even though they won those 2 games recently versus the Commanders and the Patriots, they would have had the number 4 draft pick right now with a remaining schedule that is not easy. Let's just be honest. I mean, you have 2 games against the Eagles, who I know are struggling, but still big games for the Eagles, considering the fact that they are battling for the division and there's a lot on the line for them. Look, could the Giants win out the Saints next week? Absolutely. I mean, but it's not an easy game. Home against the Rams in a few weeks. Can the Giants win the game? Yes, but also not an easy game. The point is that there was more likely chance the Giants will lose out than make the playoffs. Sure, they are 1 game out of the playoffs, but take that with a grain of salt. There's 5 or 6 other teams that they're behind and need to jump. So, to me, the only way the Giants can sneak in, and I'm not even sure if this is possible, is if they go 8-9 somehow, which means them somehow winning one of the Eagle games and tiebreakers just somehow working in your favor, which I don't know that will happen, but that is your chance to do it. And it's just too bad because I wish I could enjoy this. It was a fun win, but yeah, I was fully on board with rooting against the Giants, and I took a lot of thought into it. And again, we'll talk more about the game and less about my rooting interests in this game. But, I wanted to see how because think about it, the Giants haven't played in a while. They didn't play last week and they didn't play till Monday night this week. So there was a lot of games and things to see what would happen. And I came away with, the Giants got a lot of good results from the tank angle. And even tonight, the Titans miraculously go to Miami and beat them, which was great, which would have been great if the Giants had lost. I mean, again, if the Giants had lost this game, they really would have been in a pretty good position. I'm not saying that they wouldn't have won again. Again, the Saints and Rams games are winnable games, so they could have easily won them, right? But still, it just sucks. They are in the ultimate no man's land because if I've said, if they were 4-9, they would be in a position where they honestly could have very well had at worst a top 4 pick at worst, and honestly potential for improvement. Or if they were 6-7, right, 1 game better, then you really are right in the thick of it. Truly, legitimately, you're just not quite there right now. And so next week, right, versus the Saints, will I root for them or not? I gotta say, I don't know right now. I think I might, which I know. I'm just trying to weigh what is better for this team in the long run. And so I gotta say, I'm not entirely sure right now. I guess I lean towards rooting for them to win, but enough about that. But I just wanted to provide that context. So if I'm not so excited about the win, wanted to kind of explain why. But again, this was a pretty crazy game. Tommy DeVito, he's not making mistakes. That's the key here. He only threw for 158 yards, 17 for 21, 158, a touchdown, no interceptions, but he also ran for 71 yards, 10 carries, 71 yards. Daboll, Kafka deserve a lot of credit, for being able to get this done. Packers didn't look good. Jordan Love didn't look good. A lot of Packer injuries. Christian Watson, Aaron Jones, Jair Alexander, Quay Walker, they were pretty beat up and maybe feeling a little bit good about themselves, right? They won at Detroit on Thanksgiving. They won on Sunday Night Football home against Kansas City. They might have been feeling a little bit too good about themselves. But again, Love wasn't good. Giant defense, I thought, did a mostly good job. There was some mistakes there. And, they didn't really, what did they have? Maybe a couple of sacks, but the Giant defense is creating turnovers. They had a fumble recovery and an interception on defense, and then on special teams, both teams had special teams turnovers. But again, the Giants are getting those turnovers, which is really key to their victories. They're finding ways to win. I wish some of this could have happened earlier. Now you look back and you do look at that Jet game and you do look at that Bill game in a different way, right? I mean, it kind of depends on where you're at right now, but you kind of look like they were a player 2 away in this season to really being right in it. And it's unfortunate that the way, we knew they had a tough schedule to start. It went worse than, you wish they could have snuck a win out somewhere, right? Like home against Seattle or something in that early 6-game stretch. And they almost had it versus Buffalo. And then it looked like, all right, maybe they are coming back around, but you have that just ridiculous loss to the Jets. Then Jones gets hurt. Nothing has really gone quite right as far as I'm concerned, but people are going to tap into the DeVito hype, and that's all well and good. I get it. I don't see Tommy DeVito as the future Giant quarterback, but I'll give him this. He could be a backup in this league. He really can be. And that is saying something. I wouldn't take that lightly. He could really be a legit backup, which is crazy. I would have never, he had a good preseason, but I just would have never thought that. But hey, he is showing moxie. He's not afraid. And there is something to be said for that. So that alone, and the fans are really behind him. Hey, they started DeVito over Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor was the backup tonight. And hey, Daboll looks good because I thought Tyrod Taylor gave him the better chance to win, but they still won with DeVito. And he did well. Did he do amazing? No, he didn't, but he did well, honestly. So let's get into the play-by-play. And just as far as team stats, not a whole lot to take out of this. Time of possession was pretty even. Total yards was the advantage Giants, 367 to 326. And, the Giants ran the ball well. Well, really DeVito. Saquon had a couple of touchdowns, but Saquon was almost the GOAT of the game, and not in a good way. He had a fumble that nearly cost them the game. But DeVito had other plans in that winning field goal drive, but Saquon really almost handed the game over to Green Bay. So, he's capable of the big runs. He had a 34-yard run. I think that was maybe the one where he did fumble, but he was bottled up for the most part. The offensive star, besides Tommy DeVito, was Wan'Dale Robinson, who had 6 catches for 79 yards and had a really big catch to set the Giants up for the winning field goal. All right, so let's start it out here. Packers win the toss and choose to receive, which I thought was an interesting decision considering, looking at these teams. That was a confident move by Matt LaFleur, but ultimately doesn't work out. Packers move the ball a bit, but they do punt it away on at their own 43-yard line after getting a few first downs. Giants get the ball. Giants move the ball a little bit. They get a first down. There was a defensive pass interference, but ultimately they punted away as well, giving the Packers bad field position. And then the Packers go 3 and out. And then there's a penalty on a kick catch interference. Olszewski got hit before he could catch the ball. So the Giants start out with great field position at the Packer 32 to start out. They end up with no points. I want to talk about injury wise, a minor one, but Paris Campbell was out. His role at this point is only as a kick returner. That's it. That's literally it. So he was out. He had an injury. Dexter Lawrence returned. And I think he was, maybe he played a little less than he normally would, but I think he was in there for the most part. So Dex didn't seem to have a huge impact, but he played. And I can't think, Evan Neal continues to be out. Like I said, Tyrod Taylor returns. Darren Waller, I feel like he's close. Maybe we see him next week. But yeah, those are the main injury things that I can think of. So the Giants get that good field position, but they don't do much with it. There was a Tyree Phillips false start, and Randy Bullock misses a 48-yard field goal wide right, and then the Packers go down and score a touchdown. They get decent field position to start, and there was a controversial 4th and 1 where Jordan Love throws to Dontavian Wicks. And just want to make sure that I'm saying his first name correctly. Yeah, Dontavian Wicks gets that. Originally, it was first ruled that he was short. That was controversial and probably didn't go the Giants' way. Upon replay, he reaches out and he might have been short. The ball kind of goes at it was close, but they gave him that first down. And then quickly thereafter, a couple of big plays. Jordan Love to A.J. Dillon for 35 yards. And then on a 2nd and 9, an end-around play that the Packers did way too much, but it worked here. Jaden Reed with a 16-yard run gives the Pack a 7-0 lead. But this is where a big response from the Giants. And once I saw that, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a legit game. Going from the first quarter to the second quarter, Giants get a first down on a Saquon reception. Then Isaiah Hodgins, a 14-yard catch. Tommy DeVito scrambles for 10 yards. A direct snap to Saquon where he hands it off to Wan'Dale Robinson for right. I should mention that as well. I didn't even mention that Wan'Dale had 32 yards on that carry. So Wan'Dale was a big part of this game plan. And then Saquon Barkley scores a 5-yard touchdown. So that ties it up right there. So the Pack defense really did not get it done tonight. When Green Bay's offense did something, they would give it up right away. And that you can't win like that. So now Green Bay gets the ball back in a tie game. And on a 3rd and 2 at the 27, Jordan Love does an absolutely terrible job where he has an easy first down. If he just goes straight ahead and doesn't stutter step, he gets a first. Not only does he not get a first on this play, he ends up fumbling the ball where it is fumble forced, I believe, by Thibodeaux. Pinnock was involved as well and recovered by Xavier McKinney. So now the Giants get the ball. So that's a bad job by Jordan Love there. Now the Giants get the ball and you get a Wan'Dale Robinson first down on a 13-yard catch. Ultimately, after a Jalen Hyatt 5-yard catch, Jalen Hyatt was quiet. It's 4th and 1 at midfield. Initially, the Giants, it seemed like they were going to punt. The fans booed, and then they went back out there, and then they didn't get it. Saquon Barkley, no gain. They're stuffed. So that was not a great sequence of events. For Dable not initially going for it, but then it's kind of a bad look where he didn't, there's no confidence there, and then they don't get the conversion anyway. So now the Pack get the ball with good field position, but on a 2nd and 7, bad pick by Jordan Love. Intended for Wicks, intercepted by Pinnock, but then the Giants don't take advantage of that good field position either. They go 3 and out. And again, a big part of this game was Tommy DeVito avoiding sacks and not only not getting sacked, stepping up and getting runs out of it. That was huge because that had been DeVito's biggest bugaboo. So now the Pack get the ball back at their own 17 at the end of the half, and they are able to put a drive together. A big defensive pass interference on Cordell Flott gives the Packers good field position. Didn't love the Packer clock management so much, but ultimately they end up with a 36-yard field goal by Carlson to give them a 10-7 lead at half. Giants get the ball first in the second half, and they punt it away. But a really, really bad Keyshawn Nixon, terrible job by the Packers. He initially on the punt return, fumbles, muffs the kick. Instead of just going down, he tries to get up, and then it's batted away by Darnay Holmes, and Benton Whitley recovers it. So really, whenever the Packers had a chance to really build, it never happened either by bad defense or turnovers. So now the Giants get the ball with good field position, and the big play was a Tommy DeVito 26-yard run to the 1, and then Saquon finishes it off with a touchdown, gives the Giants a 14-10 lead. Then Green Bay, on their next drive, first play was good, a 20-yard Jaden Reed end around. So I guess there was some success with it, but I thought they went too much with it. And then Green Bay punts on this possession, but now the Giants mess up. This was where it goes off of Bobby McCain, a punt that goes off of the back of his shoulder and recovered by Green Bay. So they get great field position, but don't really take much advantage of it. They get the ball at the 14, but it leads to a Carlson 30-yard field goal, making it 14-13. But again, the Giants respond after a Green Bay score. And a big 3rd and 9 conversion. Daniel Bellinger wide open for 9 yards. Wide open. Terrible defense. DeVito then gets a 13-yard run. Matt Breida gets involved on this drive. Wan'Dale Robinson with a 25-yard catch on a flea flicker play. And then on a 3rd and 7 at the 8, similar to last week, Isaiah Hodgins gets it done in the red zone. He makes a nice throw by DeVito. Nice toe tap by Hodgins. And the Giants take a 21-13 lead. So Hodgins, who hasn't done much this season, but he has gotten some touchdowns, and he has the last couple weeks. So that makes it 21-13. Then Green Bay, as we move from the 3rd to the 4th quarter, they're moving the ball. They're moving the ball, making some big plays. But then 3rd and 11, LaFleur calls a timeout by Green Bay. I didn't love that he did that. I guess what must have been happening was the clock was winding down. That's a bad job there. He burns a timeout. Then the next play, Jordan Love gets sacked for a 10-yard loss, and then Carlson misses a 45-yard field goal. This is all important. Again, things are just going the Giants' way. Like, they're earning it, but a lot of things are going their way. It was a sack split by Ojulari and Lawrence, and Carlson misses the field goal, makes it 21-13, keeps it at 21-13. Then the Giants do go 3 and out. They punt it away. Green Bay gets the ball back at their own 16 with about 9 minutes left. Tucker, I think his first name's Tucker. Tucker Kraft, the tight end for Green Bay. Yes, Tucker Kraft gets a 43-yard catch, then a first down on a Dobbs reception. But ultimately, Green Bay, a nice breakup by Deonte Banks in the end zone on a 3rd and 10 play. And Carlson does get this field goal. 48 yards is good. And so now it's 21-16 with 5:30 left. Now is where things get really interesting. Saquon Barkley has a nice drive here, but on a 34-yard run to the Green Bay 18, he fumbles the ball and Green Bay recovers it. Not only do they recover it, they return it 50 yards to the Giant 38. So this is a play where Saquon, you could argue that maybe Saquon fumbled it because he was tripped up, but he doesn't really fall. He kind of stumbles for about like 5 to 10 yards. So Saquon, they rule that Saquon without being touched, fumbles it on his own, and give Green Bay credit. They stick with it and they are able to bring it back to the Giant 38. So now Green Bay has the ball down by 5. Saquon Barkley would have been the go to the game, but it didn't work out that way. Green Bay is able to ultimately get the job done. And there was a big a couple of third down conversions. A big one was on 3rd and 4. Jordan Love to Jaden Reed, gets it to the 8-yard line. There was a close play on a 2nd and goal at the 6 where Love to Malik Heath. And it was a nice job by, I think, Pinnock to knock it down. Then on a 3rd and goal at the 6, they do get it done. Love to Heath, 6-yard touchdown, barely gets the ball, past the pylon for a touchdown. It was a pretty nice play, but they fail on the 2-point conversion on a Jaden Reed run. That was big because if they make it a 3-point game, then really at worst, from a Packer perspective, you're looking at overtime. But it's a 1-point game, and the Packer defense was absolutely horrible. You first get a Wan'Dale Robinson 5-yard catch, then a Saquon Barkley 7-yard catch for a first down, then a Slayton 9-yard catch out of bounds, then a Wan'Dale Robinson 32-yard reception to the Packer 22. You get a couple of Saquon runs, for not much success, and ultimately it leads to a walk-off 37-yard game-winning kick for Randy Bullock. So again, the Giants, they've won them close. I wish that this would lead to ultimate success. I don't think it's going to. I know you talk about, a positive locker room, and I feel good for Dave. I like the coaching staff. I do. Not Thomas McGahee, but I like, Dave Ball, Kafka as an extension, Martindale. I never thought that they were in danger, although Wink might be for reasons unknown. But that's here nor there. But the Giants do win. They are in, they are alive. I'll give them that. They're in it, right? Like, they are in it. I don't think they're in it by much, but they are, with 4 games to go. They're 5-8, 3-game winning streak. Tommy DeVito, he is a story. He is going to be the quarterback at the very least next week and probably for the rest of the season, barring any injury. It's a pretty crazy story. He has really, injected some fire into this team, and we'll see how far it takes him. But again, the Giants win a game I was not hoping for them to win. That's been a theme, and it's kind of been a theme a lot in the course of Giant fandom in recent years. But anyway, they do improve to 5-8. They win on Monday Night Football versus the Green Bay Packers, and now they will head to New Orleans to take on the New Orleans Saints, who are not only in ultimately the NFC wildcard race, but in a weak NFC South. They are in a three-way tie at 6 and 7 for that division. So a lot on the line for New Orleans and now the Giants as they have pulled off this winning streak. They improved, like I said, to 5-8. And let's see how these final 4 games go. Tommy DeVito does it again.